Hello, technicians. I am so sorry I am not able to be there today. Very important stuff, but we're going to get to the lesson anyway, because wonder of technology. All right, so we are working on our tertiary. That's third. We have our primaries on the board, right? We already got our secondaries on the board, right? Let's review. Primaries, secondaries. Now moving onward to tertiaries, our third step. If primaries are the overall big, wide stuff and secondaries create the texture, then our tertiaries are what create light and dimension. So we're going to do that by playing with spatter first. I need you to see I am in actual paint clothes. Because there's no way to do this without being messy. So if you are losing your mind, you can always put a paint tarp over you if you made choices today as far as clothing. But this is what I've done. I'm just wearing paint clothes. So here's how spatter works. First off, our milk and ratio as far as all things. Wait for it. There we go. Our water ratio is 2 to 1, but 2 parts water, 1 part paint. That's at the bare minimum. We want more water than paint. It should be almost completely translucent, 110%. I'm doing this on my wet blend rag roll wood grain side, because this other side we're going to have to do in a minute. Yes, so wet blend wood grain rag roll side, please. Cool, awesome. So, in order to do this, you need paint and water, paint and water, and a brush. We'll only be using this slightly, yeah? So again, you want to get that down to way more water than paint. So to do this with a brush, I'm going to dip my paint in that brush, just the very, very, very edge tip, yes? Very tip, very little paint. Great. Now I'm going to dip that in the water. I'm going to swirl that just a little bit till it's dripping. You guys see that? Who loves a black background? Then I'm just going to left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay? A little bit more water. See that? Left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay, yeah? A little bit more water. That would be my third. Right? You can start to see that there's color. Great. This is the wonderful sound of spatter. You are physically going to hit the paintbrush. I'm going to turn sideways so you guys can see it in the black and you can see the paint drips. You're going to hit the paintbrush against your palm. That's going to shoot droplets down onto. Spatter's about creating dimension, but it's creating little tiny divots and dots. Depending on how close or how far you are, that changes it. So here's what this looks like and sounds like. I don't know if you guys can see all the spatter going everywhere. So I am looking down to look at where the dots are going. Now the funny thing is I'll show you where some of the dots are going. I'm going to flip it. Yeah? Perfect. Okay. So, as you can see, I managed to keep it off me, which is miraculous. A little bit. Yeah? But if we look down here, you can see all of those great little teeny tiny dots. They're very, very fine. Fine meaning small. But here's where else. That would be the stage floor, my friends, because it comes from the top as well as the bottom, right? But we've got a nice even coat of teeny tiny dots. So that's one way, right? That's the paintbrush way. The second way is the fun way. It's way more fun. So, because we all know that I am essentially 5 and like to stick my hand in paint. So, we're going to stick our hands in paint again. So, we are going to dip the tips of our fingers in the paint. Tips of my fingers. See that? Awesome. And then I'm going to tip it in the water. I'm just going to swirl that around just a little bit. Now, again, if you're doing this for real, you would actually mix that up, right? Yeah? But today, because we can always take more paint or add more water. We can never subtract water. We're going to do it this way. All right, yeah? So swirl around in your fingertips, okay? Again, you want it to be more water than it is paint. Great, awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flick down. Scooting this back over so you can see some contrast between the two different kinds, yeah? So I'm literally going to flick this down. Need more water. Yes, everything's better with sound effects, guys. So I'm literally just flicking this on, okay? Yes, I have all sorts of paint all over my hand. Not touching the camera with it. Yeah. So you can see a contrast, right? Yeah. So you see these dots are much, 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 much larger. They're much thicker. And if I zoom out, much less on the actual stage floor versus all the teeny tiny dots over there, right? So there's your contrast. We've got our bigger boulder over here, and then all the teeny tiny dots. Like with everything else with paint, guys, it's not that one's right or one's wrong. It's just, it depends on what you need. If you're doing something and there are people only like a couple of feet away from you, cool, you do the teeny tiny fine dots. But if somebody's way back there, you're going to need the big splatter. Sorry, and it's spatter, not splatter. That's different. Splatter is something we did in the 80s that we don't talk about. So spatter, S-P-A-T-T-E-R. So, congratulations. Now, go do that without making a mess. Bye, guys.